All right, the Lions looked great last night in whatever they were wearing. And, the point we made after they got their asses handed to them by the Ravens, schedule gets pretty easy. Schedule is pretty simple to navigate. The only one left on the schedule that should give them pause is Week 17 at Dallas. They could go 14-3, Chris. They really could. They could, especially a game like last night where they shoot themselves in the foot multiple times and still win the game by double digits. They're going to keep winning and winning and winning and winning. If they can stay focused, and I trust Dan Campbell will do that, they can keep winning and winning and winning and winning all the way through to that Week 17 game. I think it's Saturday night, December 30. That should be a great game, and that hopefully will have very real playoff implications for one seed, division championship in the NFC East, etc. But look at the rest. Look at what's coming up.
It's incredible. You're right.
They got their bye. They're at the Chargers. Sorry, Chargers. You ain't going to beat the Lions. Bears, Packers, Saints, Bears, Broncos, Vikings, Cowboys, Vikings. One game left that I'd worry about if I was the Lions. And I wouldn't just worry about it. I'd look forward to it. It's the chance to prove that the loss to the Ravens in Baltimore was a fluke.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, agreed with you that there's nobody there on paper where you look at and go, they're better than the Lions. There's not. There's nobody there except for the Cowboys. That's the only team you're going to question. So 100% there. Favorable schedule. The way they've looked, I would think they're going to win more than their fair share of those football games. No question. And the Ravens game, hey, we've seen great teams get killed before, right? It's not conducive to who they really are. The Ravens got hot on offense. The Lions kind of came out with a pass-first mentality a little bit, which is different from them in the game. Their O-line has not been at full strength. I don't think people realize that as of late either. So, it kind of snowballed, and then the Ravens made a few big plays, and it got the Lions out of their games, but they're not 32 points worse than the Ravens. We know that. I think they're right in the same class as them. And the Lions, too, I think it's they're still going this way. They're still wait, we're building something. We're still getting used to winning. Their defense, as we see, their front seven, it's big. It's hard to move them, right? They find creative ways to get after the quarterback a little bit. They play a lot of zone coverages for the most part in the back end, but they can dabble in man. Offensively, when their O-line's healthy, it's one of the best in football. You get Gibbs going. You see Laporta and what he can bring at tight end. He's a phenomenal player as a rookie, right? And we know Amon-Ra St. Brown. He showed us again, what the hell were we all thinking, thinking he was a fourth-round receiver. They got other potential players to be scared of, and Jamison Williams, where you see he's got three rockets up his butt too. So I don't even think they've hit their top potential yet either. And that's what's, I think, intriguing about the Lions. And I'd be shocked if the Lions weren't one of the top 3 seeds, in the NFC playoffs, let alone maybe 1 or 2 when it's all said and done because of that schedule.
Well, they'll clearly be at least 3 because 4 will be the NFC South, none of the above champion. The question is, can they get number 1? Can they get to the point where the road to the Super Bowl goes through Ford Field so we don't have to subject Jared Goff to the Philadelphia elements?
Right. I hear you there.
January.
Right.
That's going to be the key. Anywhere. You never know what it's going to be in San Francisco that time of year. Seattle could be the 1 seed or at least higher than the Lions, and they'd have to go out there. Seattle's already beaten them in Detroit. You want everyone who you play in the playoffs to come to you, especially if you're Jared Goff. And then if you run the table and go to the Super Bowl, you don't have to worry about any elements whatsoever because the Super Bowl is under the Roomba floor sweeper in Las Vegas, the Allegiant Stadium.
They can make it interesting, Mike. I think to your point there, I do. I mean, we've talked about, you brought it up a few times last week, right? The Eagles' schedule gets real here for a while, where they play just about all the best teams in football for about 6 weeks here. So that's going to be interesting. You're right. They slip up 1 or 2 games, and like we said with that Lions schedule, they certainly could be in play here for the top seed, and wouldn't be shocked with kind of the things we've said already here.
The only problem to this, the only caveat, and it's a big one, if the Lions end up having the 1 seed and in come the 49ers, in come the Eagles, in come the Seahawks, Lions haven't played many teams like that. Between Ravens and Cowboys, you're not you're not dealing with great teams on a regular basis, and that
like
may
your
take
Eagles
an adjustment.
theory
You
at
may
the end
get
of
hit.
last year, right? That's what you're kind of saying, right?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, it was too easy for them. It was too easy. They hadn't been hardened the same way the Chiefs had. They hadn't seen the season flash in front of their eyes. Everything had been easy for them in the postseason. And then they get into a point where they got, they were in a position to deliver the death blow to the Chiefs, and they kind of froze up a little bit. So that may be an issue for the Lions when one of the other great teams, if it's the 49ers, if it's the Eagles, if they show up in the playoffs, the fact that you haven't played great teams second half of the season, but for the Cowboys week 17, that could be something that's psychologically difficult for the Lions to process. All right, let's take a break. Trade deadline today, as previously mentioned. There was a little bit of action yesterday. Will there be more action today? We'll get up to speed, easy for him to say, on everything that happened on Monday when PFT Live continues right after this. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.